Speaker is Dr. Heisook Lee. She's a director of GISTER, Gender Innovations in Science and Technology Research. She used to be a professor at Ewha Women's University, the same university I'm working right now. And now she's a director of GISTER. As a director, she has been playing the very important role to set up the concept of gender innovations and encourage researchers to do gender innovation research in Korea. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Lee for the excellent talk.
Thank you for kind introduction. I'll talk about shaping equitable brain research, policy, and sex and gender-based analysis today. Okay. Yeah, this is the content that I will talk about. And before start, I'd like to introduce my center. This GISTER stands for the Center for Gender Innovations for Science and Technology Research. It was founded in 2021 with the approval of Ministry of Science and ICT in Korea. And gender innovation is in STEM refers to the process of creating new knowledge and technologies by considering sex and gender throughout the research and development process. And the vision of our center is global gender innovations policy and educational initiatives. Actually, my hope that we don't need such an institute at the end. If everybody is integrating sex and gender in their research, then we don't have such an institute. I still have a problem to use. Yeah. And also, this is a short history of our initiatives on gender innovations. The concept of gender innovations in Korea was first introduced systematically in 2013. And 2015, we had a Gender Summit Asia Pacific in Seoul, which is focused on gender innovations to sustainable development goals. And following the 5 years, there were 17 case studies and research on the policy integrating gender dimensions into research was held. And 2020, we had a Gender Summit Global for SDGs was held in Seoul, Korea, organized by our center and POSHA together. In 2020, because of this, after this Gender Summit Global, we had a big policy development, which is the integration of gender innovations concept in the Framework Act on Science and Technology, and also the Research Performance Evaluation Act. And 2013, followed by this based on this Framework Act, the integration of gender innovations in the fifth master plan for science and technology. And also we had a nature forum with a topic, with a theme, enhancing research excellence by integrating sex and gender in Seoul, Korea. Previous speakers mentioned about these concepts, so I'll skip this one. And why do we need sex and gender is important in brain research? If we look at the keyword network with sex and gender variables in biomedical research, then the bigger the node has a bigger the differences between sex and gender. And you can see the neuroscience, depression, stress and anxiety, aging, adolescence, hormones, and metabolic disease. So this is important, not only, in brain science. And also the recent report published by NIH the fact sheet of on women's health research. The tables of contents, there are 10 of disease and dementia and women's health, and mental health and women's health are very distinctive there. There is some progress of sex analysis in neuroscience and psychiatry from 2009 to 2019. An analysis of neuroscience and psychiatry papers published from, you can see which the article published in Nature Communications appeared in 2022, and there you can see this cool graphic that shows this. There's a big change. Studies with both male and females, they went up from 38% to 68%. Studies with only one sex stays the same, and also the studies of sex omitted went down from 30% to 4%. And studies designed to find sex differences is a new and exciting area. And also there is gender plays a very significant role in mental health, but this area remains under studies. For example, in Canada, the male suicide rate is 3 times higher than female rate, and also in Korea has the highest suicide rate among OECD countries. The male suicide rate is twice that of the women. In Korean case, statistics suggest that the motivation for suicide differ by gender and age for men. Factors like mental health struggles, economic hardships, and physical health problems can all play a role. But for women, however, mental health difficulties seems to be a more consistent reason for suicide across all age groups. This highlights the need of further research incorporating sex and gender-based analysis to better understand these disparities. And also, data is very important. The skewed data may could cause the life as well as the loss of investment. For example, the recent the AI health unicorn called Babylon Health developed the health chatbot, and their price gone up by $2 billion, but they bankrupt last year because of this. There are many reasons, but one of the biggest reason was that they used the skewed data to make their health chatbot, but their data really comes from British National Health Institute. So it could, one can say that it was a good data, but because of until very recently, people didn't think about sex and gender in their treatment or diagnosis, so it has biases. Yeah, this is the same paper that Henrietta mentioned. So I'm just going to go very quickly. Here we can highlight that the drug called lecanemab could show cognitive decline in people with Alzheimer's disease. However, it has been proved that the drug might significantly help men, but not women. And you already probably know that there are many drug adverse different between men and women. And it started with 10 drugs in between 1997 to 2000 in US. But according to some further research, the drug adverse difference in between men and women reached more than 600 drugs. And yeah. But this is very ironic because, as you already saw, Alzheimer's disease occurs a lot more more common in women. And also 70% of pain medications are used by women. However, these medications are primarily developed using only male animals. And so the policy is very important for researchers to integrate sex and gender in their research. So editorial policies already Henrietta mentioned, so I'm going to go very quickly. It's not only Nature, but also the Cell introduced the initiative of inclusion and diversity, and they provide a checklist for sex and gender research. And also Lancet introduced the EDI, equity, diversity, and inclusion, which is sex and gender integration is a subset of those concepts. And Nature is doing a very good, they have a very good advocacy policy, and they publish the related papers. There are many that if you integrating sex and gender analysis improved your science. So it's not just the good for both men and women. Inclusivity is important, but also it increases the science excellence, scientific excellence. However, there are some challenges left. So in this article, you can see some scholars are reluctant to research sex and gender integration out of the fear that their studies will be misused. You can find some of the social scientists or some other areas, they can use your research in a different way. That's one of the reasons. And some scientists also have been warned of studying sex differences by their colleagues. So others who are already working on sex and gender related topics are hesitant to publish their views. Listening to our two speakers, I feel that it's not going to happen. And then also in Korea, outreach programs open to for this sex and gender integration, open to both genders, but ratio of male participant is less than 10%. I found the same situation from in Canada case as well. They introduced sex and gender more than 13 or 15 years, and now they are working on EDI, promoting EDI in research, but the participation rate of male is only 30%. So people seem to confuse with gender balance or gender, the theme of the team diversity with the gender innovations, which is integrating sex and gender in their research. So it's research content. So when we talk about gender innovation or integrating sex and gender in their research, that doesn't mean whoever the researchers are, whether they are male or female, every researchers should integrate. this doesn't work. Yeah. So there is an article also published by Nature. It says that the funding, there is a correlation of funding and research outcomes with the sex and gender-based analysis. So up until 1993, female animals and women have been ignored or actively excluded in clinical and laboratory-based biomedical research. But by 2009, more than 60% of studies with the human participants reported both sexes. But lower in 26% included both male and female animals in animal study. So to correct this persistent imbalance, the National Institute of Health in US implemented extra guidelines in 2016, mandate independent sex and gender as a biological variable in all clinical research. It has been very effective. So another bibliometric analysis found that 49% used both male and female in animal studies. In Korea, let me just briefly introduce. In Korea also has introduced sex and gender analysis in the Framework Act on Science and Technology. In Article 7, the realization of science and technology for enhancing social values, taking into account characteristics such as gender, which means sex and gender. And based on this Framework Act, the fifth master plan introduced this integration of sex and gender analysis in their research. I'm just gonna go. Brain Research Promotion Act in Korea, we have a Brain Research Promotion Act, and based on this act, fourth master plan for brain research promotion is going on since 2023. And in strategic objective, they are talking about developing a proactive approaches to addressing ethical and societal challenges in brain research. However, this current approach fails to ensure the consistent integration of sex and gender-based analysis into research. So this addressed we need a policy that maintains this use of sex and gender-based analysis. You have also shown that the funding policies is a trend introducing sex and gender in Canada, in US, and also very recently the President Biden issued the executive order, announced the new action to advance women's health, research, and innovation. And especially, he called the Congress to make $12 billion US dollars for women's research, women's health research. So money will be there, and we all probably need to integrate sex and gender research. And this is, as a summary, a research community, I think it's a time to shift from why integrate sex and gender-based analysis to how to integrate sex and gender-based effectively. And also funding policy, they probably should provide adequate funding and require proposals to integrate sex and gender-based analysis. And also editorial policy of top journals. At the moment, they are strongly recommend to integrate sex and gender, but to ensure this paradigm shift early, it would be good to require authors to consider sex and gender-based analysis for manuscript submission. And advocacy and awareness, we can empower advocacy groups to champion inclusive research and gender-sensitive health care for the not only researchers but also by the public power. Thank you very much.